Welcome to PLUSone, a series where I look at the free monthly games on PlayStation Plus and tell you if they're worth the download. Today we'll be looking at LittleBigPlanet 3 on the PlayStation 4. Released in November 2014, the game is the first in the series to be developed by Sumo Digital, and it's the first numbered game not made by Media Molecule. LittleBigPlanet has traditionally been a 2.5D platforming game with some puzzle elements, and in fact it's probably the biggest example of a game that actually uses that extra 0.5D. While most 2.5D games are just 2D in gameplay but 3D visually, in LittleBigPlanet players can actually switch the plane they're traveling on by jumping back and forth between planes. This is where much of the game's depth comes from, pardon the pun. Throughout every level are these bubbles that players can pop for extra score, and more often than not new stickers or objects for use in the creation suite, which I'll talk about later. At the end of each stage, the score is tallied up and players can see their high score in real time compared to their friends or the global leaderboards. On top of this, many times there's a bonus for collecting all the stickers in a stage or beating it without dying. At any point in the levels, players can use the D-pad to change Sackboy's facial expressions, or even press square to open up this Pop It menu, where they can change his appearance. Hey look, I've got a Nathan Drake skin. Add stickers onto the level backgrounds for fun, or even spawn new items to help progress further in the level. While these mechanics are relatively simple, they're intuitive, and more importantly, they're incredibly satisfying. At first things might feel clunky due to the really floaty physics engine, but I can't tell you how often I've stayed in one section of a level just trying to get that one last sticker just out of reach, or looking for hidden areas to give me more bubbles. In that regard, it's very similar to a Yoshi's Island game. Levels are never super hard in themselves, but the challenge is getting everything. Even better, the mechanics are incredibly versatile due to just how much content LittleBigPlanet 3 has. For one, there are over 70 different power-ups that players can use depending on the level, from a grappling hook to a helmet you can use to slide down rails to the vacuum from Luigi's Mansion. These power-ups alone keep everything fresh, but even on top of this, there are 4 unique playable characters, and the game has up to 4-player co-op, both on your couch and online. I didn't really get to try either of these at the time of this recording, but I did have a couple connection issues when I tried to join a game online, one of which forced me to reload the game entirely. From the bits I've played of previous games though, I can definitely say that this game is tons of fun with friends. The game can also shift to a true 3D style in some levels, although it's not exactly great. It's pretty clunky at times, and in the 3D levels I experimented on, there wasn't a real sense of depth in this, because the camera still tends to react like the levels are still 2D. This is more a problem in custom levels than the pre-built story levels though. Speaking of, LittleBigPlanet 3 follows the light story setup in the first 2 games. I note light because you can jump right into 3 without needing to know anything about the first 2. Like I did. The story and voice acting are both incredibly charming, with Stephen Fry's narration still a high point.
What a cracker!
Wow, okay, rude, never mind. I won't touch on the plot too much because most of it is honestly inconsequential. It's fun for what it is, and the dialogue in particular is superb, but the actual plot is nothing to write home about. See, the story mode of LittleBigPlanet has always been the kiddie pool. It's there for you to get your feet wet and learn the mechanics before you go for a real swim in the game's creation suite. LittleBigPlanet 3 presents the most robust level creator in the series, going far above and beyond the standard set by 2. Players can redesign Sackboy, add unique textures over the level terrain, add custom music, throw in special missions within the levels, and even create their own power-ups. If you name it, this game can let you make it. There can be up to 16 planes of depth in any level, and you can make custom 3-dimensional levels as well. I even found a Ratchet and Clank level with gold bolts hidden inside, and Sackboy even had a little wrench to break boxes. And it's worth noting that if you've ever played one of the previous 2 main games, everything, and I mean everything, carries over. DLC, power-ups, created levels, it doesn't matter, you can play it here. This effectively makes LittleBigPlanet 3 an endless game, provided you don't get tired of the mechanics. There are special challenges and developer choice levels featured constantly too, including this one where I got to play as Nathan Drake, skateboarding in a Back to the Future themed level and avoiding all these gigawatts.
Oh crap.
That sentence alone makes this game amazing. As you could tell by watching the gameplay I've shown so far, this game is also stunning. It nails the comfy, hand-knit vibe that it's clearly going for, and it's a crystal clear 1080p on PS4. I can't think of many other games where the visuals give me this warm, comfy feeling that LittleBigPlanet did here. Perhaps my only nitpick in this regard is that some custom levels mess with the frame rate a bit more than I'd like. That Ratchet level I mentioned earlier really didn't like boxes all that much. But that's a very minor price to pay for being able to make pretty much anything you want, custom visuals and all. The game is about 11.4 gigabytes, which isn't too bad as far as major PlayStation titles go nowadays. But the question is it worth that space? Well, if you're looking for a tight platformer where you'll feel like a total pro, it may not be for you due to the floaty mechanics. But if you're looking for a fun, casual game, or if you've got that creative itch that needs scratching, it's totally worth it. And if you're watching this video after the month's free games ended, the low starting price of $20 is beyond worth it to me as well. This game is pretty much anything you'd want it to be. In spite of a couple small nitpicks, LittleBigPlanet 3 plays great, looks gorgeous, and it's charming to all hell. So if I were you, I'd +1 this game to your collection right away. Thanks for watching, and if you want to find out if more of this month's free games are worth a spot on your system, be sure to subscribe.